Next up, we're going to look at the startup culture in the Middle East. And to moderate that panel, we have Ozan Sönmez, who is part of the King Abdullah University. He's just gone over there to start a new accelerator incubation program there. But Ozan and I have known each other for quite some time now, and he was based here in Istanbul for a long time and very much part of Turkey startup culture. And so I'm going to hand it over to Ozan, and so that you can introduce your panel. A round of applause for Ozan and his panel. Come on, people, with the applause. Come on. All right.
You're all sleepy, you're all tired. This is the second day. Could you please stand up just to wake yourself up a minute, please? And now I'll have some time to introduce my panel. Please join me in some stretches, some movements. I don't want anybody to be seen. This is serious. Middle East.
No problem.
Very serious. I like you a lot. Thank you so much. Those who joined, those who didn't join, keep on sleeping. I don't mind. Can I have a mic, please? And I'll introduce my panel once they're seated. So, our distinguished panel, could you please take your seats? I don't want to do one by one.
Please don't put the lady first again.
Thank you. That actually woke me up.
Yeah. They need to be awake. This is important.
All right.
Yeah.
Please.
Nivan would have done it even if I haven't told him this. So he's a good friend. So thank you. And now I'm opening the genie bottle. What do you know about the Middle East? Fairy tales, stories, 1001 Nights. And now we have a genie in a bottle. And this is important. This is a gift from the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. I will give it after to Burak, if he can handle it. We have 3 wishes. I was planning to have 4, but I'll give 1 wish to Burak. So my name is Ozan Sönmez. I'm coming from the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. Just moved there 2 months ago. We're creating the technology-based accelerator in one of the unique universities in the region. And I'm joined by I'm very proud to have hosting these people. I'll let them tell what their stories are briefly, and I'll have 1 question, and then we'll discuss. Please keep notes and ask questions, and then we'll have a lively chat. So I'll start in a minute. This is very serious. Genie in a bottle. This is serious. So let me fix this.
Looks like a genie in a can.
Yeah. So Wissam, please introduce yourself, what you do, and make a wish for the entrepreneurs in the Middle East. You have a power to solve 1 thing. I know we have many issues. 1 thing that you wish to be solved. You can name who can solve it, but the genie can't. And what our role can be as players in the entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Wissam Otaki. I'm the CFO of Marca VIP. For those of you who don't know the company, we're a flash sales business operating in the Middle East. And basically, much like the Trendyol and Marcofonies that operate here, we focus on the Arabic market. So if I had 1 wish, it would be to eliminate cash on delivery and replace that with credit card and online payments. If I had to kind of comment on how I think that could be done, I think it's a group effort. We all, as e-commerce businesses, need to help build trust in the region. We need to promote the benefits of online payments as opposed to cash on delivery. And I think, like I said, that's an effort for all businesses as well as for online payment service providers. And I think it's very, very important because it'll dramatically change the dynamic of e-commerce in the Middle East.
So going forward, what do you think is keeping people to avoid cash on delivery? What needs to happen?
Well, I really think it's a trust issue. I think people here are still, in the Middle East, are still not used to doing a lot of shopping online. They're very hesitant about security, obviously. And at the same time, they're still testing out this new methodology that they're not necessarily used to. So I think it's a maturity that will come to the market, and it's one that we all need to work together on educating people about a little bit more.
All right, thank you. That was good. We'll return back to it. So, Nima,
Thank you.
be careful.
All right. I'm Nima Adalkhani, the founder and CEO of PitMe, which has a dual meaning, either peace in the Middle East or progress in technology in the Middle East. Our concept is to turbocharge the entire ecosystem and help startups get connected to Silicon Valley through resources and mentors. My one wish would be for investors to stop investing $14,000 for 20% and asking for board seats, which absolutely completely destroys the chance of any company raising money later on and destroys cap tables. So by pretending to reduce risk, investors are actually sabotaging their own success. And there's no investor who wants to invest $1 million at a growth stage for 10% of a company or 20% of a company when the cap table is completely a mess. So that would be my one wish, and I think it would benefit the ecosystem if people started doing convertible notes and supporting entrepreneurs and really believing that it's a long-term investment and that there's going to be success instead of thinking about short-term gains. Thank you.
Great. Tuba, be careful with that. We have one wish.
It's getting heavier.
Yeah. We have a lot of things in common. We're trying to build the ecosystem in the Middle East, and Tuba has been playing a critical role in that. So he has many wishes, I know, but the most important one, I'm really wondering.
Well, I don't know if it would be the most important one, but just a little bit of what Kutuf is. Hi, my name is Tuba Terekli, Turkish-born Saudi, who's very proudly trying to build ecosystems in both countries. And Kutuf is an entrepreneurship foundation that was founded by the private enterprise. We've seen 25 to 30 years of government-funded platforms trying to support entrepreneurship, and I'm sure they're all successful to one end. But the private sector involvement was long overdue. We do many programs with accelerators, venture capitals, and the whole 9 yards of trying to set that up. Now, my one wish, but before I give that wish, I want you to have a perspective on what represents Saudi Arabia, and I'll speak for the country that I know very well. It is 3 times the surface square of Turkey. It's about 2.1 million square meters, and it has about third the actual population of Turkey. Its population of Saudi is about 18 million, and only half of those people are above 21 years of age, and only half of that half are of working capacity. So we have a very short supply of those who want to be entrepreneurs, even a shorter supply of angel investors and mentors. So my one wish would be talent. And talent, I think, is the key to unlocking most of our issues in the Middle East. Those of you that know the Middle East will also know Qatar, for instance, the highest GDP in the world right now, has only 400,000 Qataris to its name. And out of those, not even 1% want to be entrepreneurs. So we have a massive challenge ahead.
So we had...
Do I pass this on back to you?
No,
I keep it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Since I'm the
No, we'll turn,
all
we'll
right.
turn in circles.
Can I get a freebie?
Nah. Brock's going to kill me if you do that. So if we have a trust issue to solve on infrastructure, which is payments, and logistics maybe. We have cap table issue and then board seat issue and decent investment and valuations and terms that will make entrepreneurs keep being entrepreneurs, not become paid workers in their own companies. That's very hard. And we have a talent, kind of maybe an awareness issue. A couple of more things that I might add. I'm going to ask, I had notes, so we'll need your input. One of the things that could be included could be legal structures and law. The intervention or non-intervention of the governments or the region. And maybe, again, we touched on the point of angels and early stage investors and growth stage investors. And technology infrastructure. Saudi has a great technology infrastructure. Most of the Middle East has a great technology infrastructure. We have 4Gs and almost connected. Mobile is very big. So on that kind of 3-4 topics on law and tech infrastructure and investing structure and governments, what would you have to say?
Wow, everyone is looking at me, you noticed? Oh, God.
You said
Okay,
Kutuf and
you
government
know,
relations?
All right, okay. I'll take you on the point of government. I do work with so many of the ministries in Saudi Arabia and had the privilege to know each of them that are visionaries, and some of those are really practical and some are more political. I think we have three key issues, and this morning Fatih said it best. I really applaud him. He actually should become a Saudi, from my point of view, and come and do that whole show.
He's a bachelor.
All right, okay, so we'll figure that one out later. But the whole point is, from lack thereof or from too much of intervention, or intervention in the wrong manners, a lot of people assume that there's too much government support for SMEs in Saudi Arabia. And one of the highest wrong perceptions I've seen around the world is that Saudis are rich, they don't need extra money, what do I have to lose, why can't they try? It's not true. Almost 63% of the population lives under $1,000 a month of income for family sizes that average 6 to 8 people. And that's a big mess, right? So they assume, the people on the top assume they're giving enough support, and people on the bottom assume there's no support. And that results in one thing, and that is no investors wanting to take risk, and the private sector not coming in because the government is not there. And they basically go on to clone as many projects as they can. So you are only a successful entrepreneur if you have Arabized Yahoo or Microsoft's latest, app challenges. You have the Arabic version of whatever that, app is, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense. And again, I guess goes all the way back to the talent. We have zero mention of entrepreneurship in our syllabus as it exists today in Saudi Arabia.
That sounds familiar from the Turkish experience we had.
So we actually are still fighting what to call entrepreneurship in Arabic. A lot of people agree that it should be called Riyad al-Amal. Some of us think it should be Samiyun. But the
What's
whole
the
point
difference?
is, the difference is one is too elite, so puts it at a rank that only the rich could afford, Riyad al-Amal. And Samiyun puts it at a very low rank, which is like, it's a hands-on thing. You have to bootstrap, you have to strive. But they literally both mean the same
So you're going
thing.
through the same struggles again.
We don't have a definition of what is a unified definition of what is an SME. So you may go to Ministry of Labor, he has his own definition. And to date, banks don't have a definition of what is a startup company. And a lot of people don't understand that it's a startup and is a company in the making. Of course, if you don't present a business plan, which is the key in Saudi Arabia, you get no funding. And we don't believe in business plans. In Kutuf, we tell people just one thing: just make your sale. Please, for God's sake.
Thank you. Nima.
So I want to talk about maybe the hybrid between government support and investing. If we look at the governmental institutions in the region that are supporting entrepreneurship and businesses and job creation, I think between the major ones, Solotech, Badir, Khalifa, OCP, Enterprise Qatar, there's something in the neighborhood of $5 to $10 billion of endowment, which is solely there to create the 100 million jobs that are supposed to be created. The problem is that that money is there and it's building infrastructure. Unfortunately, I don't believe infrastructure equals ecosystem because it's in separate buckets. So you have the government literally dumping money to build ecosystem, then it's not being supported by angel investors. On this point, angel investing in the US is a losing asset class, and people here should understand that as well. I think the word maybe should be changed to believer or supporter. And so I think the issue is that the governments, the investors, the corporates, the startups, and everybody's in separate buckets. So there's no accountability to each other. There's no collaboration on a
disconnect between you.
It's disconnected. So again, I actually completely disagree that the money is there, the talent is there, the market opportunities. Every single vertical in the Middle East is an open playing field. I say this a lot. When Brazil, or if Brazil crashes, China will still be a mess. India still will have cultural issues. Europe will be conservative, and Russia is an opportunity. But I think I call the Middle East the final frontier as far as a market where in every single vertical you have multi-billion-dollar opportunities, and all the numbers are going up. And so I think people need to find better ways to collaborate and connect each other's efforts.
Good point. On the investing side, one of the most experienced people in the room raising funds is here. So what would you take on any of the topics we mentioned?
Well, look, I think, in addition, and agreeing with Nima here, that we find ourselves in the fastest growing e-commerce region in the world, according to Visa and a whole bunch of other people. So there's definitely a lot of potential in the region. But we still have some issues that we need to resolve. And fundraising and investing and how it ties into legal infrastructure is a very important one. So one thing we don't have in the Middle East, if you go around, are, for example, a tiered share structure that allow investors to have, preferred shares, convertibles, so on and so forth. We don't have decent bankruptcy laws. It's very, very expensive for an entrepreneur in the GCC in countries like the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain. Bahrain may be a little bit easier, or cheaper, to start a business and then fail. There's even a stigma around that culturally that's slowly changing. So the potential is definitely there. I think government intention is there, albeit with different requirements, such as job creation and so on and so forth. But legally, there are still challenges, and overcoming those challenges will open up a risk appetite for entrepreneurs that are coming out of university that can say, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And I think that'll also help create the necessary ecosystems. It'll help bring talent. It'll help expose more talent as well. So yeah, I think from a legal perspective, there's a lot of work that the governments can do to make it easier for young entrepreneurs to go out and get investment from angels and VC funds and so on.
So to sum up, and just before leaving the floor to the questions, we talked about the trust issues, the cultural issues, and risk-taking. The region doesn't have an issue by risk-taking. This is the region where created every possible commercial institution, commercial routes back in centuries ago. So everything is there, and the establishment is there. We need to have progress in the legal and bankruptcy laws, high potential weighting. I tend to agree with Nima. Lots of issues on equality, and this is one of the top things that every country is facing. And we need to grow an awareness on entrepreneurship. I think the institution I'm representing is trying to establish a couple of those, tackling all of those, trying to create technology out of Saudi-based accelerator and a seed fund, and expecting technology to arise, to come to Saudi, to come to Middle East, to reach new heights. So leaving with that, I'd like to have the floor if they have any questions. And if do we have any time left? Can someone? All right, great. So we have time. So any one of you have any questions? You had an assignment. I gave you an assignment before I start. Okay.
Hi. I think the Middle East is, as Tuba said, there are countries which have lots of capital and lack of talent, and there are other countries in the Middle East, for example, in Egypt, we have lots of talent but very little capital. How do you see that we can collaborate together with different countries in the Middle East to really gather resources from each part together, and people in the Silicon Valley and people with experience? We need to get all this together, because separately I think it's very difficult to really progress.
So I think the question is about the disconnection between capital and talent. Talent is universal in Egypt, where he's from. He's a startup entrepreneur, by the way. And it's very important that we kind of connect those dots. So how can we do it?
Well, we in Saudi, we have partnered with the famous Egyptian accelerator, Flat 6 Labs. And the first response we got from the market is, why didn't you partner with an accelerator out of Silicon Valley? And why would you choose partners out of Egypt? I can tell you, you are absolutely correct. Egypt has a lot of talent. So does Jordan. So does Lebanon and Morocco and Tunisia and Turkey. Turkey has also a very abundant source of talent. Now, the connectivity comes when we agree to collaborate. And we don't do it as masked programs or PR programs, but we actually excitingly embark on journeys together. When I mean together is the small-size entrepreneurs together with other small-size entrepreneurs. I really believe that we have to advocate for buy small campaigns, that we buy from each other and we support each other. I send you a mentor, you send me a mentor. I send you a client, you send me a client. I send you my angel investor who is interested in your market, you send me yours that's interested in my market. And those things have to be very active. We've signed up with WAMDA on several of those collaborations. We've just unleashed our first pilot e-commerce where one activator of the platform is from Oman, the other is from Lebanon, and the root is in Saudi. We are trying to do these effectively, hopefully. But we have to highlight once they're successful that they work out.
Yep. So,
I think. I was going to say the Kuwaiti government just put together a $7 billion fund, and it's to support Kuwaiti entrepreneurs. Fortunately or unfortunately, there aren't enough people in all of Kuwait or even the region to deploy $7 billion capital. So I think, ironically, where there's capital, there's no ecosystem. Where there's ecosystem and talent, there's lack of capital. So one of the organizations that I think is at least trying to do this with Silitech, which is supporting 11 countries in the region. We're also working potentially with PNB, which is a State Department initiative, to help build these ecosystems, connect them regionally. And I think at the end of the day, what Tuba is saying, that there has to be regional collaboration, because if you take the entire ecosystem of the Middle East, it equals one secondary US ecosystem, and it's still disconnected, and it's still fragmented, it's still culturally different. But at the end of the day, I guess maybe to me, at least personally, I see these problems as opportunities, and I think there's only room for improvement and growth. And again, I'm a firm believer that money will find good talent and good opportunities. It's just a matter of narrowing that gap in between all these efforts that are getting people started, Flat6, Oasis, Berrytech. There's a bunch of people who are getting people started. The gap is in the growth stage, and not just capital, but also growth stage support. And then there are the Abrajas, the N2Vs, the government funds that are doing later stage stuff. So it's just getting everybody together and collaborating more.
I think, and you know, I'll venture saying if you give the entrepreneurs in the Middle East $7 billion, they'll do something interesting with it. But there's also a role for organizations like us that have crossed a lot of these challenges. We obviously still have a lot more in front of us, but we're now also heavily involved and very keen on helping build the ecosystem. And so, you know, that's in using services from other young startups that are really innovative. Or in lending a helping hand in helping entrepreneurs build their business or go out and raise money and so on, and things like that. So the businesses that have already established a little bit of success and have gotten a little bit of traction, although we still have a long ways to go, we also have a responsibility to the ecosystem that we're in to help build that out as well. And so we're very active with Oasis 500. We talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs all the time. And we try to bring our experience as well to the game so that you know, you guys get a little bit of value from people that have done it before.
So I think we're out of time. It was a very thought-provoking and very open discussion. So I'd like to thank that you shared the panel with me. So please, let's give a round of applause to our panelists. And then any questions, we can catch you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ozan. Thank you. Thank you so much.